I also recently went to the first few days of her living with us. I was culturally shocked because of how she's always naked. Like Germans low-key are interested in your body when you're naked. Plot twist. It sucks. Hello everybody, welcome back to Did I Say It Right podcast. This is Carlie and I'm so excited to be back and talking to you guys. Welcome back to the podcast. I know there has been some gaps in between the year 2025 to 2026 in terms of doing or posting the podcast, but in my defense, this is my first winter. I've gone through my first winter, guys, and it is quite an experience. Now I understand winter blues. So for those that had also experienced their first winter recently, please tell me, how was it for you? I heard the winter this year is much colder than usual. So yeah, I want to know, how are others going? But I'm only inactive in terms of podcast, everybody. You know, if you follow me on my social media, my TikTok and Instagram, and also here on YouTube, you would know that I have been posting quite a while. And I've posted some of my stuff during January and during Carnival. That was really fun experience. But now we are back to the podcast, and I bring you an interesting new batch of stories to talk about. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. Give it a subscribe and a like and a comment. Or if you are listening on our Spotify, hello, wherever you are right now, in your car, in your radio, in speaker. I'm glad to be part of your day. Please continue to support the podcast right now so we can keep doing these incredible episodes. So today, for this episode, I am going to share some of interesting stories that I've read from our new Facebook page. Speaking of that, I would like to announce happily that we have now a new Facebook page. It is called Living in Germany's Secret Files. In the beginning, actually, I named that Pinoys in Germany's Secret Files, but I've realized that the world is big and many people move here in Germany regularly, and I would also love that they would be able to share their stories for us. So I named it Living in Germany. I changed the name, and it is now open for everybody to share their stories anonymously, safely, and to be able to hear from people in the comments, from me. It's just nice to be able to air out what you are going through right now. Yeah, I hope it could be a platform for everybody. And some of you guys have already sent their stories. And the stories that I'm going to be sharing today are in Tagalog originally. That is the Filipino language. But for you guys, I will translate the story so we can all listen to it, hear it, and maybe we can have some sort of advice for them. So our first sender has named their short rant or story Immigration. And it started with, "What now, Ausländerbehörde? I sent an email to apply for my Aufenthaltstitel in my city this October, but I haven't received any email or call. In the beginning, the replies were fine. They gave me clear instructions about the requirements. But as soon as I sent my documents, nothing more came back to me. Up until now, they haven't sent anything back. I asked other people around, and the only advice that they gave me is to wait patiently. I checked the reviews on Google Maps, and they are mostly negative. Is it really like this in Ausländerbehörde? Are there any good ones? It's so hard to wait for a response, especially now that my visa is almost expiring." Oh dear, I feel for you. I also recently went to Ausländerbehörde, of course. When people move to Germany or to any country for that matter, the first step to go is of course, to go to Ausländerbehörde and get their documentations right. And of course, Aufenthaltstitel is one of the first documents or cards or identification to get on with. And yes, I agree to you mentioned that some people gave you an advice and says that you have to wait patiently. You would hate me, but this is really the answer, the solution. But not the only solution, okay? Depends. You said that you submitted your documents in October, and I think you submitted this story right around February. So that's like 4 months, I would say. So 4 months, yeah, you can still wait a little bit longer. My case also was like six months long. It could really last for months. But it should be no longer than 6 months. I think the waiting should not be more than 6 months, in my opinion. At that point, you either could receive anything at all, or you have to send an email or actually go to the office without a termin, a schedule, or give them a call. My experience with calling is actually a hit and miss. Most of the time, no one's gonna answer or it's always busy. But if you do get a call, or if you're able to make a call, they would help you and mostly answer your problem or like fix your problem. They're really helpful. But we also have to understand that they really have a lot of work to do and they're mostly understaffed as well. So yeah, I think most people can relate with the Ausländerbehörde problems. It really takes a while, and I agree so hard on it's really hard to wait sentence, because a lot of things goes in your head. A lot of things goes in your head when you are waiting. Like you don't know, was it lost or your papers forgotten? Did they even receive it? Like you have no idea. You have to just trust the process that it is there and you're just waiting for your turn. I know there are many people out there that has a really good experience, I believe, like just a few months and they get their cards already. And honestly, good for them. But I believe it's like different city, different Ausländerbehörde. So yeah, hang in there. And I hope that because it's already like April now, I hope at this point your application has been approved now and that you have your Aufenthaltstitel. Yeah, what do you think, guys? For those who have an advice for this person, leave a comment down below. Okay, so we will go to the next story. The next story is entitled Hubadera, which is very Tagalog word, and I don't know how can I translate it accurately in English, but to explain it, it's more of like a person that is always naked, but not exactly naked, but in Tagalog terms, someone who always has less clothes on. Let's read it. Krankenschwester here in Frankfurt for 3 years, living in WG with 4 other girls. For those who don't know what is WG is an apartment where more people lives together, more of like a roommate situation. She lives with 4 other girls. Most of us came from different countries. One of us is Deutsch. She's really nice and good in chores, so she's so easy to get along. The first few days of her living with us, I was culturally shocked because of how she's always naked. Again, the word naked here is loosely translated to someone who is just wearing lesser clothes. Like I assume she's not really like naked completely. Not even a week of meeting us, she's already very comfortable of not wearing much. She never wears bra. She also sometimes goes out of her room at night in her underwear, wearing thin tops, her nipples almost see-through. I know it's not much of a big deal among Germans. That's why I get embarrassed, because I sometimes catch myself staring. But eventually, as time goes by, she somehow taught us all to be comfortable with each other in terms of that. Nudity is so common here, especially on beaches or saunas. Like, most really don't care. So yeah, the bottom line is that I'm the only one who actually cares so much. Okay, so the concept of nudity here in Germany actually is very interesting. The concept of nudity here, because from what I've noticed, Germans are very comfortable with their body. With nudity, especially on like beaches or saunas, you wouldn't feel like Germans low-key are interested in your body when you're naked, if that makes sense. There is this genuine not caring whether your tits are out. But also at the same time, I understand the sender. She is from the Philippines, and Philippines is still very, very conservative. Not very, very okay, like pretty conservative in terms of this kind of topics. Coming from that perspective and then moving to Germany and meeting people who are very confident of not wearing so much is mind-blowing. Or at least something in your brain gets nitpicked. And yeah, she was very understanding of that she's the only one who actually cares about it and that it's not so much of a big deal, and that she feels bad about caring so much because she's the one who's always actually staring or giving a meaning out of something. And I also like that the ending, the German girl, actually eventually taught them to be comfortable with each other's bodies. And I love that for them. Yeah, it's all gonna stem down about loving your body or being confident and having this mentality that body is just a body. Everybody has a body. Good for you, girls. So let's go to another story now. This story's title is called Hard. It's hard. Am I the only one who really cannot get and learn Deutsch? I'm almost here for 3 years, but I still couldn't pass B1 even if I am studying intensively. I'm always so pressured and stressed just because of the fact that I'm really slow and bad at learning. At this point, I can understand and read a little, but when it comes to having a normal conversation and the other person speaks really fast, I really couldn't catch up. People also has a hard time understanding me with my accent. Sometimes I can't help but think whether is it really God's will or am I just really forcing something not meant to be. And I can really relate when it comes to language learning and being so bad at it and the difficulties of learning German. Of course, it's not just German in general that's hard to learn. There are many languages all over the world that is really challenging. It's really hard to be the kind of person where your strength is not language learning. Personally, I would say that my strength is language learning itself, but it's never been a piece of cake. To be staying here for 3 years and, still failing the tests probably over and over again is frustrating. I get it, and very disheartening, discouraging, and also the pressure that comes along it is so very crushing, in my opinion. So I guess we could start from there. For the dear sender, let's start with removing the pressure off our chest, because mostly it's just us who are putting the heaviest pressure. But of course, there are social expectations from people around you. I get that. But pressuring yourself or being anxious at it regularly just makes the task even harder. And it's never gonna bring you anywhere. I would say it could be beneficial or helpful to let loose and take learning one step at a time. Do not be discouraged of how long have you been doing this, of the time. And I think it'll also be helpful to celebrate small victories when it comes to language learning. And remember, we are all going through it. A lot of us, hundreds, thousands of us are going through this phase of learning the German language. And everybody knows, even the locals, know that this isn't an easy task. But yeah, there is no denying that it's really hard not to doubt yourself at this point. But, in the end of your statement, you were thinking whether it's really God's will to be here, for you to be here, or you're just forcing things. I believe if it is not God's will for you to be here, He would have redirected you somewhere else to be. As long as you still have that willingness in your heart, you have the fighting spirit, keep going, okay? Maybe you can find your own support group. You can find friends that are going through the same thing. It could be really helpful to just be able to talk to someone. Yeah, just be kinder to yourself. Okay, next we have our fourth story. You never really know the situations people are in until you get to read some of these stuff. And you never really know how much you can relate to them so much. I can relate with so far the 3 stories that we've talked about. Let's see, what is our fourth story? The title is Chase. To chase someone. Okay, let's read. Hi, I just want to share my story, hoping there are people who can understand my situation. I am 23 female. I met a 29 male German guy in 2023 when I was on vacation with friends, and he was also on vacation. Anyway, long story short, we were in a long-distance relationship for a while. Then, I applied as an au pair near his place so we could finally be together. Our relationship was okay, and I also enjoyed my host family. But after 3 months, my visa ended and he told me that he still wasn't sure where our relationship was going. We had already been together for 2 years at that point. I got tired because it felt like he had no future plans for us. We had a big fight a few days before I left. Before I went back to the Philippines, I broke up with him. He said it was okay, like he didn't really care. The thing is, just 2 months after I got back home, I found out I was pregnant. If it were just me, it would probably be easier to move on and go no contact. But I feel like my child deserves their rights as a half German. I haven't contacted my ex yet. I don't want him to think I'm chasing after him, but I kind of feel like, in a way, I am. Whoa. That was such a plot twist. It sucks. It's such a really annoying situation, I would say. Especially if the relationship didn't work and suddenly there's a surprise. It almost worked though, because she went to Germany as an au pair and their long distance relationship kind of become a short one, if that's a word. Well, I guess the moment that they were together most of the time, that's the point where they realize that they're not really compatible or something. And that's also okay. Some relationships are okay when you're long distance and then doesn't really work in reality when you're together. But there was this complication, and the complication is that there is a baby on the way. I understand the dilemma. You kind of don't want to speak to your ex, but at the same time, your child is half German and it comes with benefits, especially on, let's be honest, okay? As a Filipino, we have a very weak passport and it's so hard to travel with that. But if your kid gets a German passport, it's a game changer. So I do understand where the sender is coming from. I think I would also want the same benefits that my children deserves or that my child deserves. So it seems, I think, yeah, it's okay. You should contact him, at least let him know that he's gonna be a dad. But I think clarity is important if you're not really after fixing the relationship. She also mentioned the reason of breaking up. It seems like it's a big misunderstanding. Maybe this story can have a part 2, a chance. I'm kidding. Because she said that the guy didn't seem to have a future plan together with her. So they cut it. And yeah, I believe it's a valid point of breaking up. And when she left and broke up with him, the guy was just like, fine, whatever. Like he didn't really care. So yeah, I would say you can reach out to him, but not chase him emotionally. There are clear boundaries to that. There's a clear line against that. You know, you can say that, hey, we have a surprise. Something came up, but I'm not looking after fixing this relationship anymore. Or like, I'm not after you anymore. I just want you to know, or I just want my kid to be recognized. It could go from that, right? And don't feel bad, girl. Don't feel bad about trying to get what your kid deserves. Okay, it's very understandable. I believe most of the women, most of the moms would agree or would be on your side. And yeah, it might be a little bit embarrassing to reach out first. I get it, but you have something to fight for it. Yeah, no problem, girl. Don't feel bad. Yeah, very interesting story. So now we are down to our last story. Are you ready, guys? The last story is Couldn't Leave. The title is Couldn't Leave. Okay, I will read the story. Hello, everyone. Filipina stay-at-home mom here in Germany. I already have 2 kids, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. Since I moved here to Germany, I've really just been at home. My husband's income, he's German, is more than enough for us, so I don't work. I often feel really lonely here because I'm usually alone with the kids. I try to study German, but I'm still not that good. I really struggle with speaking. Last month, I caught my husband cheating on me. I read the text messages on his phone and confronted him right away. He said it only happened once with his coworker and that they didn't have sex, but they did things that I don't even want to list here. I was deeply hurt because if I hadn't caught him, he wouldn't have confessed. I cried for days. I wanted to leave the house and disappear from him for a while. But I don't have money. I don't have my own bank account. He just gives me cash and I only borrow his card for groceries. And what about the kids? I don't have family or anyone I know here. I've been here for quite a while, but I barely know anything outside my usual routine. So here I am. I can't leave. I'll just endure it, cry again, and that's it. That's crazy. First of all, I'm very, very sorry that you had to go through that. And I believe this is one of every girl's horror story, to not be able to have independence. I believe that the sender has her reasons why she chose to be a stay-at-home mom and to really rely on the husband's income, to not have any bank account, to not have any money under her name. You might have your reasons. Given the fact that this is the situation, it could be really, really challenging, could be really hard to go through this and to feel helpless, to easily feel like you cannot do or go anywhere. And it sucks that he kind of used it to cheat on you. He kind of took advantage of that. I think there's an evident power gap between the relationship. And that being said, maybe it's one of the reasons why he felt like, yeah, it should be okay. But it's crazy. What do you think, guys? The cheating? Cheating is cheating, okay, with or without sex. Let me just point it out. Okay, he says, only happened once. No sex happened, so let me say that counts as cheating and it's equally as bad. The sender's emotions are really valid. And first thing I would think is to maybe message your family from the Philippines, ask for help, maybe go to establishments or offices. I'm not very familiar with this, but I believe there are offices that you could go to here in Germany if you need help. and they will help you. But I do understand the fear about the welfare of the kids. What's going to happen to the kids? The kids are super young, 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. Yeah, that's not something that you can just bring and skedaddle. Especially, I think, 4-year-olds, they probably go to kindergarten at this point. It is really hard. But I think if you want to leave, you should not be tied up to that. You should have the time or the freedom to leave when you want to. Especially, the sender is not even asking for actual divorce. She just wants some time for herself. And I think you should have that because it's also going to be very helpful for your mental health. And if you're trying to get this relationship, have a chance at least, or to work it out maybe, you do really need a time apart, especially if one partner is asking that. Maybe you could tell your partner first. You can ask your partner, I gotta go, give me money. Actually, also you deserve it. You deserve some money from him because you have been a stay-at-home mom taking care of him and his family. So his money is your money as well. So go get that bag. Whatever your decision is, girl, you have to remember that this is 2026. There will be so many establishments, especially in Germany, that will be open to help you. And there are good-hearted people that would also help you. Your family will accept you. I believe, just judging on the story itself, at the surface, it really does look like you cannot leave. It's going to be a long process, especially about factor the kids, factor the loss of money. Oh gosh, guys, help me out. I just hope that it works out for you and your family for the best eventually. And yeah, there will be help. It's fine to cry it out as much as you want, but you don't have to endure it forever. Just remember that. Whew. And so, those are our stories for this episode. Oh gosh, that is so interesting. A lot of stories that I could relate to, a lot of stories that I was just gagged. So leave down a comment or a suggestion or, I don't know, a rant. If you also want to submit your own story, please visit our Facebook page, Living in Germany Secret Files. Also, thank you very much for watching this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode. We have more stories for you. Please give some love in this channel and all on our social media platforms. Thank you so much for sticking around. I will see you on our next episodes. Tschüss! Bis gleich. Bis später. Did I say it right?